Hate. It's a strong word. It carries a weight that can be felt deep within our hearts and minds. We all know it. We've all felt it. At some point in our lives, hate has touched us, whether directly or indirectly. Hate is powerful because it can control us. It can take over our emotions and dictate our actions. It can make us do things we never thought possible. Actions driven by hate can be destructive and irreversible. When we hate, we stop thinking clearly. Our judgment becomes clouded, and our decisions are no longer rational. We see the world through a distorted lens. Our perception of reality is altered, making it hard to see things as they truly are. It's like looking through a dirty window. The clarity is gone, and everything appears murky and unclear. Everything is blurry, and we miss important details. Hate targets groups. It isolates and alienates. It says, these people are different. They are dangerous. It creates an us versus them mentality. They are less than human. This dehumanization is a tool used to justify harmful actions. This is how hate spreads. Through symbols, rhetoric, and actions, it infects communities. It divides us and turns us against each other. Hate builds walls, both physical and emotional, that separate us from understanding and compassion. Hate messes with our heads. It makes us believe things that aren't true. This is how propaganda works. Propaganda tells us lies over and over again. Eventually, if we hear those lies enough, we start to believe them. Hate makes us afraid. We become scared of anything or anyone that seems different. This fear can turn into anger, and anger can lead to violence. History shows us the dangers of hate. It teaches us that unchecked prejudice and bigotry can lead to unimaginable atrocities. The Holocaust is a prime example of this dark reality. It stands as one of the most horrific events in human history. The Nazis used hate propaganda to turn ordinary Germans against their Jewish neighbors. Through relentless and insidious messaging, they sowed seeds of distrust and animosity. Jews were blamed for Germany's problems. They were scapegoated for the nation's economic woes and social issues. They were portrayed as a threat to the country. This dehumanization made it easier for the public to accept discriminatory laws and actions. This made it easier for people to accept the horrific violence that followed. The systematic persecution escalated into mass murder. Millions of innocent people were murdered simply because of who they were. Men, women, and children were subjected to unimaginable suffering. The Holocaust reminds us that hate can have devastating consequences. It is a stark warning of what can happen when intolerance and hatred are allowed to flourish unchecked. Section 4. Closer to home, the Rwandan genocide. The Rwandan genocide is another tragic example of hate's destructive power. In 1994, Hutu extremists targeted Tutsis and moderate Hutus in Rwanda. Radio broadcasts spread hateful propaganda. They called Tutsis cockroaches and called for their extermination. Neighbors turned on neighbors, friends turned on friends. In just 100 days, nearly 1 million people were brutally murdered. Section 5. Fighting back against hate. In a world where diversity is our strength, it is crucial to stand united against the forces of hate. Hate is a learned behavior, often passed down through generations or absorbed from the environment around us. But that means we can learn to unlearn it. Through education and awareness, we can dismantle the prejudices that have taken root in our society. We must be aware of how hate spreads, especially in the digital age where misinformation and harmful ideologies can go viral in an instant. We need to challenge prejudice and discrimination whenever we see it. Education is key. By teaching empathy and understanding, we can foster a more inclusive community. We must teach our children about the dangers of hate and the importance of tolerance. It starts at home and continues in our schools and communities. We need to have open and honest conversations about race, religion, and other differences. These dialogues can break down barriers and build bridges of understanding. Remember, hate thrives on silence. When we ignore or avoid addressing hate, we allow it to grow unchecked. When we stay silent, we are complicit. Our inaction can be as harmful as the hate itself. We must speak out against hate in all its forms. Whether it's in our personal lives or on a larger societal scale, our voices matter. Only then can we create a world where everyone feels safe and respected. A world where love and acceptance triumph over hate and division. This is an educational channel dedicated to spreading awareness and understanding. Your support is vital. Please subscribe and like our content to help us continue this important work.